Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and internet genders. I am Zachamus Prime, aka Zachamus Prime, bringing you another Transformers third-party review. Today we're going to be reviewing my third review from the Maketoys Cross Dimension series. This is going to be the Thunder Manus with Divine Suit. Divine. This is their take on God Jinrai. I was about to say God Fire Convoy, but that wasn't right. And this is a really, really nice figure. I have been nothing but impressed with the Maketoys Cross Dimension X stuff, and this is just no exception whatsoever. Really, really, really nice figure. Just the aesthetics of it are really great, and the assembly is really great, and the color separation is really great, and the chrome is really great, and the paint apps are really great. And this is a really great figure. It's a really great figure. But yeah, so this is part of their Cross Dimensions series. Here he is with the Striker Manus. He's a big figure. Striker Manus is a little bigger than your averagely sized. There we go. Get your feet on the ground. Striker Manus is a little bigger than your averagely sized Voyager, and he's a lot smaller than this guy. This guy is about the size of a leader class figure, which means that he's quite a bit shorter than the Masterpiece scale Power Baser. It doesn't even fit entirely in the frame in this shot. Zoom out. Zoom in. That guy's going to be effing huge, by the way, when they come out with their God Bomber, because they're working on one as well. But anyhow, yes. So two of the things that Maketoys focuses on with this line is they focus on style, which he's definitely got the style. And they focus on posability, like how well this dude can crack out a cool pose. And so in terms of posability, he's got a ball-jointed head that just goes everywhere. If there's any gripe I can say about this is that, you know what? I feel like his eyes are good. They look like they're just like backlit in this shot. But I kind of would have wanted them to be more vivid color blue, you know? Like they're reflective and they're very bright. They reflect light in some interesting ways. So they kind of tend to stick out. And yet I wish that they had a little bit more color to them. Whatever. It's a little concern. We don't have time for little concerns when we're dealing with stuff like this. But yes, so his head is on the ball joint. He's got this cannon thingamajig here that rotates around. It's got a clicky joint that comes up and down. It's a really stiff clicky joint. As you can see, I'm starting to pull crap apart. He's got his wings. His wings are out on these little joints, and they'll go up and down. And this one's on a little ball joint, so the ball joint really just makes it so. No, that's not a ball joint. I'm dumb. It's just a mushroom peg. Rotates around, flap in and out, a little bit independently. His arm, this tab, by the way, is the only tab on this figure that doesn't like to hold super well. Maybe a little bit of future floor polish. We'll fix that right up. Maybe I've got something misaligned. That's always a possibility. In the words of the Mythbusters, failure is always an option. But his arm goes out all the way. It's interesting. He's got two joints on here. This is the one that's really meant to be used for robot mode. There's a second one that does the same motion, but it's more for vehicle mode. I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But it rotates around. It clanks up against this his backpack a bit, so we don't get full rotation there. I'll go back over some of the posability in once I downgrade him a little bit. He's got a bicep swivel. He's got technically a double joint here in the arm, but because of the additional divine suit, it doesn't go quite as deep as in just the regular Super Jinrai mode. So we're talking, you know, I mean, well over 90 degrees. This is a good piece of poseability, but it's not quite as much as the other one because, like, this chunk connects to this chunk and whatnot. His wrists are on a swivel. He's got the old 3-finger, 1-finger doohickey going on. He does have an additional joint in the hand. Let me pull this gun out real quick. So he's got the 3 fingers here. He's got the additional bend in his finger so he can, you know, do the old come hither, thither thingamajig. He does have a ratcheting waist joint and pretty good degree of ab crunch there. His hips are like hella ratcheted. Again, the divine suit kind of gets in the way just a bit, so we'll go forward about that much. We'll go backwards about that much. Doesn't really affect the outward motion as much as you'd think. Like, a lot of this outward motion is affected in the base figure mode as well. So we'll give that a good, you know, half of a Van Damme. He's got double joints maybe? No, just a really deep single joint that goes pretty deep. It could go further if it wasn't this butt flap. This butt flap, it's not terrible. It's not great either. You can't do a whole lot with it. Maybe you can try and move it out a little bit. Piece of armor fell out. Ratchet joint's too strong. But, I mean, he's got really good clicks, and he's got really good, like, poseability on the knee. And he's actually got really cool detailing on the knee as well. Oh, man, just everything on this, on the lower half of this, like, so much of it is just so ratcheted so heavily. He's got ratchets on his ankle tilt. His ankle tilt is, woo, that one's new. His ankle tilt is kind of up there because it's the ankle tilt for the Super Jinrai mode, and then he just like puts on these like elevator shoes to come into God Jinrai mode. So especially if you've got him in like a wide pose, the tilt of his angles might turn you off a little bit. I think it works out great. I think it works out okay. You know, like so. So you might look at that and be like, man, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But I think that in a lot of cases, if you're, you know, at all savvy when it comes to posing figures, you can pose it in such a way that, you know, you can get a good amount of articulation out of the ankles and not, you know, I mean, if you hide it at an angle like this, then, you know, we've got a deep bend on his ankle, but it's not like showing real vividly that you've got this like big old chunk of emptiness there. But whatever, it's poseability that you can deal with and deal with quite well. You'll notice that there's a little bit of poseability out here that goes outwards, but that's actually a carryover from another mode, and so it doesn't really serve in this mode. Other than that, he does have toe moves forward, and that's going to be the biggest bulk of it right here. In terms of accessories, he comes with basically what you see here, all of this armor that attaches onto him. Actually, this figure is one that is basically fully integrated. He does have 2 of these guns here. If you're holding the sword, he's only got space for 1 of them. But what you can do is you can stick the guns onto these tabs here, so he can like mount them on his wings when he's not pew-pewing them all over the place. Pew, 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 pew. This tab is still being kind of a dork. But really good figure. His articulation actually works out really nice. I mean, I am absolutely in love with that Power Baser figure, but this figure has got way more articulation than that. So, like, yeah. I don't know that my collection really has need for two of the same character, which is why I was hoping to find a copy of Thunder Erebus to call my own, but I didn't jump on that when it first came out, and there's no way I can get it now, so whatevs. Interesting to note out, so all of this divine suit stuff, divine suit is what they call this version. There's another version coming out that they call the divine armor, and that actually is going to have a robot mode, because you had, God Bomber was a separate figure than Super Jinrai, and then God Bomber and Super Jinrai combined to make God Jinrai. But yeah, so this part just fell off again, and that part just hit my lamp and fell off. So I guess that's God Jinrai telling me it's time to take all the armor off. So what we're going to do here is we are going to disconnect this, and we're going to pull on this until something moves, which is going to be right up here. This piece tabs on quite well. There's these two tabs right here that clip into these two clips right here. Very secure, very, very secure there. We're going to pull this up like so. And then there's two clips on this chest right here that connect together. For the forearms, we're going to open up this panel here, and then this is just going to just pull straight off. Forearm, pull straight off. Disconnecting this armor is just held on with a tab. These armors are held on with, you may have noticed it, there's two tabs that fit into, of course it pops off when I'm messing with it, but now that I'm trying to take it off, it's like, no. There's these two plus-shaped tabs that they go into the screw holes here. Interesting that the screws are on the outside. I wonder if this is misassembled, because there's holes on the inside. It's possible that this guy has misassembled, that the thighs are switched. Well, if that's the case, I'm sure it's easy to fix. These parts right here are going to come off, because this is where his guns normally go. Off, I say. There we go. For the back of his leg, there's a piece of armor here that connects with this clip under that tab right there. And then there's a piece of armor here that this tab is kind of obnoxious, because if you just pull it straight out, this tab, this clip that's supposed to be in here, will come out with the tab. And I mean, it's easy enough to put back in, but it's just a weird tolerance issue. To get this guy fully into his Super Jinrai mode, so we're going to take these off, stick them up here. Onto his shoulders. We're going to open up his forearms. All right, I'm going to use a little tool. flip out his hand, close that back up. Again with the other side, open, flip, 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 close, rotate. For his feet here, we're just going to take these and rotate it around and fold that straight up, like so. Rotate it around, fold it straight up. You may want to reposition some of these wheels. I think that this is a more proper position for this mode here. Like that. We're going to stick this aside for just a moment, because now we've got all of these armor pieces. And they do something. So we're going to take these, open this up, pull this out. This is the base. We're going to take the sword, disconnect the handle, the bottom part of the handle that'll slide just out. Reconnect that. Interesting thing about the sword, it's got this feature down here, which makes me look at that and think that if there was like two of these swords, they would fit together back to back. But I don't know where you get two of these swords unless you had a second Striker Manus. This one goes blade up, by the way, because if you try to put it in blade down, it just won't fit in all the way. So blade up, stick that in all the way. So what we're going to do for this is we've got all of these parts. So these pieces are gonna fit in like this. These tabs on the inside are going to go into these slots here. Now I haven't figured out a really good way to do this, but so we're going to take these two and we're going to tab these together. And this is going to go, there's these little tabs here. These little tabs are going to peg into this slot and this slot. But I'm pretty certain that this isn't the order to do it properly. We want to kind of like stick these, we've got these tabs right here. These tabs are going to go into these slots in here. But like when I put them in by themselves, like right now, they don't really like to stay in very well. But if I try to put them in later, then they like knock everything out. So we're just gonna like, I don't know, make it work as best as I can, roll the dice on it. We're gonna take these, we're gonna plug them in like so. We're gonna take these. You'll notice this has a little tab down here on the bottom. That'll fit in right there. Like so. So let's see if I can get these over the hands properly. It is kind of a trick. Wait, maybe I should put it in the right way. With these little vent things facing forward. These vents, by the way, look just like the leg vents from the Zeta Gundam. Am I right? I feel like I'm right. I could be right. They kind of look like it. Now down here we've got these two tabs, these two little slots here. And these tabs up at the top are going to peg into that, and this is just going to hold that fairly well. By the way, I'm pretty certain that, see how these are like the same size almost? Pretty certain that on the Divine Armor version, this is going to be where it connects to the rest of the trailer, whereas on this one, this is where it connects. It's interesting that they decided to do this. I don't understand why like why they would design the same thing basically twice. But they did, and it's kind of weird and whatever. So then we're going to take these and we're going to stick the wings in kind of an X formation here. We're going to stick this on top. These slots are going to go onto these tabs here on the arms. Hopefully without untabbing everything, or even, if we're lucky, anything. I'm never that lucky. And okay, maybe I get a little bit lucky sometimes, but just sometimes. So now with these down, we're going to take these pegs. These tabs are going to go into these slots here. Like that. Like that. These are really solid tabs. They will help hold this together really well. And we're going to take this and fold it around. I should have actually probably done this before I combined it all together. But there's a tab on this piece and there's a slot in here. We're just going to fold this around, peg it in there, and then this just kind of comes down and just sits. And that is the divine armor all trailered up. So we're going to stick this completely aside. One thing I want to point out about this guy is that he is, of course, completely compatible with all of the weapons that came in the line before him, including all the ones in the Striker Nor set. So if you have a Striker Nor set, like, that's a nice big pile of weapons that are useful to him. As it is, he only comes with these two big guns. Oh, and that sword. But the sword was just for the other mode. I suppose if you really want to, you can pull the sword out and use it in this mode. It will fit in his hand just fine because it uses all the same tab system. There we go. In this mode, he still looks... Ooh, hey, let's pull this up a little bit. Doop. He still looks really great. I mean, this is an impressive, you know, Super Jinrai guy. He does lose a little bit of height. There he is next to his Striker Manus counterpart. So he does lose a little bit of height, but you know, he deals with it quite well, I think. Gains more poseability out here. He has, you know, without that backpack section here, he moves around more freely. Without the armor section here, the arm folds much deeper. Without the additional armors on the front, he's able to move these skirt armors a bit. Get some more poseability, much higher kick this time. Still about the same going back, but when it's forward, he can really use like all of that bend instead of, I guess he used almost all of it before. His ankle joints, still the same. Toes, still the same. Like this still continues to be like a really poseable, really nice looking, you know, Jinrai figure. He's great. He looks great. He feels great. Like, I mean, I can't even recommend it enough. I play with this and part of me wonders why. Why did I go for the other one instead of this one? I mean, not that I have anything against Power Baser at all. Just Power Baser is much larger, so he takes up more space on the shelf, and he's much more expensive, so he takes up more space in your wallet. I mean, he looks freaking amazing, but like, this looks amazing too. Really nice figure. Just, I continue to be real impressed with Maketoys. They do good stuff. I like them. But that's not even the end of this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to open this up. We're going to take this and we're just going to slide this out. Let's stick this aside for now. And we're going to convert this guy into trailer mode. So to get him into trailer mode, it's actually pretty easy because, you know, it's that kind of figure. We're going to turn his waist completely around. We're going to disconnect these. There's a double joint in here. We're going to bend it. Use that double joint to bend this all the way in. We're going to take this shoulder and we're going to pull it up. This, not at the Poseability shoulder joint, but at the Transformation shoulder joint. Pull that up. It's going to push backwards on this peg here. Yeah, like that. Same with this side. Pull this up. Slide it backwards. And then what's going to happen here is that these arms are going to bend forward. But the, let's fold these hands back in. There we go. Be sure to rotate the hands 180 degrees. They go in much easier that way. So what's going to happen is we're going to take these and we're going to fold them up. Fold them all the way in like this. And then we're going to push this panel towards his elbow. Actually, it's probably going to be best to go like this. All right. This is what we're going to do. New plan. Yes, I've done this several times before, but I have like a bajillion figures, and I got a big old box of figures from a buddy of mine, and so I've been going through and reviewing them, and so I've like dealt with like 20 new figures. It feels like hasn't actually been that much. It's been 6, 7, 8 new figures. So these are on corresponding tabs so that they don't conflict with each other when they connect in. These are going to fold at this joint here. Push these up, fold them all the way in. They don't tab into place back here, but given the somewhat ratcheted nature of Striker Manus's elbows, they will fit quite nicely and quite securely. Unless, of course, you have a camera running, in which case all bets are off. Funny how that works out. Alrighty, that's good right there. So then basically we're going to take this and we're going to not deal with it at the moment, actually. So to do this, we're going to need to fold these wheels out till they click. Then we're going to need to fold these wheels in. And the way you're going to have these is that, okay, so you've got this tab here is going to slide in to kind of locate in there. No, sorry. I'm just looking like a doofus, aren't I? Fold these all the way out. Put these all the way around. Tab these legs together. They don't really want to stay tabbed terribly well. That's what this is for. There's 2 tabs right here, slots right in here. They're going to go in. Now there's a slot in here that this tab on the foot is going to go into. Also, not to mention, there's a tab right here that this slot on that wheelbase is going to go into. Boom, like so. Alrighty. Now we're going to take these toes. These are going to fold down, reveal some more nice paint apps back there. All that's left is the panels. So we're going to take, this panel is going to extend out. This panel is going to extend out. This panel comes down. There's a tab in this one that kind of goes into there. Doesn't really peg into it, it just locates. This one will snap into that peg there. Like that. Now, most of all the videos I've seen for this guy have gone from vehicle mode into robot mode, just because there's a bigger sense of build-up that way. You know, you go to something bigger, and it's super, super satisfying when you get to the end. But as a result, there's a complete lack of videos out there that show transformation to vehicle mode, and that's what I'm trying to do here. Vehicle mode is always a little more frustrating, and again, as always, I apologize. So this, as you saw, this is going to slide up. There's a tab right here that is going to go back into his dick plate there. And then with that in place, we've got a tab here and a slot here. Tab here and a slot here. This is going to peg into that. Because these tabs, they don't all peg in securely, and some of them feel more like locating tabs than anything else. All right, home stretch time, guys. We're gonna take this, we're gonna open this up. This will only move out like a little more than 90 degrees. This is going to go up again. This will only move up really about 90 degrees. So open this right here, move that up, and we're going to put these together. There's a tab here and a slot here. I'm going to try to get those to line up, and then furthermore, there's tabs right here that are going to kind of locate into slots on the feet itself. Oh, 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 ow, ow. The wheel ended up inside. There we go. These actually have little slots that they go into as well. And there you have it. There's the trailer mode for the body. It's interesting, of all the like tabs and locating tabs and like all these other tabs that they have, just like tabs everywhere. They would be nice if there's some sort of a tab for this. But this is actually one of the beefs that I got with this thing. Let's plug this in here. Let's plug this in here. Let's plug this in here. It's going to fall off again in a little bit because I'm going to mess with it again, you'll see. Plug this in here. Put this off to the side. So now we've got this little cab part right here. We're going to take this and fold this down. Fold the feet down. We're going to open these up and then pull these out. This backpack little thing is on a double joint here, and you're going to take that out and pull it around. Make sure these arms get opened up fully. Also make sure the head gets extended out fully. It goes into place with a nice little satisfying click. The wrist is like the whole hand and wrist is all one piece, so that connects out there. And there is little Jinrai in his mode. And he actually comes with guns of his own. You take this and separate this out. You can just slot those into... The handles appear to have like a little bit of a rail system built into them, but they don't. It's just little rectangular holes. And this guy is quite small. He's about the size of a deluxe class figure. Or sorry, he's about the size of a, maybe a little smaller than a scout class figure. Or I guess Legends is what we call it now. Lower this all down. And he, once again, has got really good paint apps, really good sculpting. He's a pretty solid little Optimus Prime figure. He's got a bit large of a backpack, but you know, that's completely acceptable given his size. In terms of posability, his arms will go all the way around on mushroom pegs. Keep in mind this is a mushroom peg, so when you run it all the way around, they kind of like to pull out sometimes. His bicep is actually on a ball joint, so that will include the swivel and the lateral movement. He does have some lateral movement out in here that takes this whole back panel with it. And I think that it's an important piece for posability, but you only really get like that much out of it. He does have an elbow joint, which if he's not holding a weapon will of course go all the way, because that's, you know, for transformation in addition to posability. No real wrist swivel except for this, which you know is like half of his forearm as well. But you know, you make do with what you got. His face, it's on a little platform, so it'll go back and forth a bit as well. That's not really for posability, that's more just a transformation thing, and an unintentional one as well. His waist doesn't want to move much. If you get this backpack like more out of the way, like if you bring this up onto his shoulders, then you make clearance here. And then all you're dealing with is fighting the wheels on his hips, which will move out. So, I mean, he has a full waist joint. It's a bit hindered, but you can still make it work if you need to. His legs will go out 70% of a Van Damme. His legs will go forwards all the way and backwards basically none of the way. This is kind of a nice little piece of posability, though. His leg goes far forward enough that you can probably get him to do a pretty decent, like little, you know, Iron Man pose. His knee joint is far more than 90 degrees. Good bend on that. His ankle will move back a little bit, forward a whole lot, all the way actually. And then he's got not a toe joint, but he's got this little rotation thing. You can, if you've got him like in a wide stance, you can just kind of, you know, touch that rotation a bit, and and get it to flatten out his feet. It's good for poseability. It looks a little awkward, but you know, you do what you can. At this point, we're dealing with icing, to be perfectly honest, because I mean, I don't think anybody's going to buy like a big, complicated, fully integrated, you know, fully realized Jinrai system specifically because, oh man, I dig the Jinrai figure. But I don't know. To get him transformed up, we're going to pull these guns out. I snapped his feet together. We're going to take his toes and rotate them at this little joint here. We're going to pull this backpack out. That's going to allow us to move this forward. That gives us the clearance to push his head in all the way. Keep in mind, when you push this head, it is just going to want to fold back. This is not the proper way to do it. The proper way to do it is to separate that and push it down so that it goes into place like that. We're going to rotate his elbow, his biceps 90 degrees. We're going to bring his arms up, and we're going to rotate his wrists out. And then we're going to fold them in. These are going to mesh together. We're going to rotate this right here. I'm sorry, my wife just made a sound. I don't know what's going on. Winnie! Hold that thought. Well, that's good to know. She wasn't shrieking because of, you know, like she, you know, stabbed herself with something or an intruder was in the house. No, she was just shrieking because she finally killed that tempered Kieran that she's been trying to work out in Monster Hunter World. So that's awesome. I gave her a fist bump for that. Anyhow, to finish off this transformation here, we're going to take this and slide this up. There's these tabs here. They're going to tab in. And then we're going to bend that. We're going to pull this out. This is going to tab into the upper leg. And then there's going to be a tab right here that goes in. There's actually a tab up here, but I've never successfully got this tab to go in. Maybe I'm dumb or doing something wrong or both. You know, it's always a possibility. I'll fit that together, pull this up, stick that in, and there he is in his vehicle mode. And to make it a true vehicle mode, we can pull this out, pull on these little tabs, both of them simultaneously, and that makes that click back out. And there he is in his vehicle mode. You can take this, you can plug that in to that hole there, and have a comically large trailer. You can take the back of the trailer here and pull it out, extend it out just a little bit. There's little tabs, little slots in here. I don't know if you can even see them. Little slots. The end of this can fit into those little slots. So now he's pulling a comically large double trailer. And this guy here, unpeg these. His legs are on tiny ass little ball joints. Fold this back. And you have a super, super tiny, that's no bueno. There, I'll move his arm forward a little bit. You have a super, super tiny Jinrai. And he's, you know, pretty great. His arms will move up and down and out a little bit, though. Neither one of these seems to be solid at all. Ball joints at the hips. Full Van Damme. At least something in the set's got a full Van Damme, right? Knee joint will go backwards, good 90 degrees. I mean, he's not going to do anything except stand there, but he'll stand there pretty well. Just don't, breathe too hard, because, he will blow over. Personally, when it's in this mode, I greatly prefer to just keep this, because at this point, I mean, he only fits in on the one spot. This isn't like with Power Baser, where he's got like an alternate location up in here. Power Baser's got a spot in here where you can put it. He's only got the one location. It's on the front of the cab. So I just, choose the better part of caution and have him in here on these two little pegs here, just so that he's staying put. The last thing you want is for this piece to go missing, because even though it doesn't affect like the transformation in any way, shape, or form, like it affects knowing that your set is incomplete. And there he is with the whole thing. Oh wait, take these guns, put them back in. Oh, like a sorrow. I do like how just wonderfully and seamlessly these kind of blend into there. So there's your full thing there. All of his like bajillion wheels and all of the like big cannon thing. And I mean, if you saw this going down the highway, you'd be like, damn, someone's about to get fucked up. So it's not exactly a robot in disguise. It's not the best disguise for a robot, but I mean, it was an 80s Japanese cartoon. You gotta give them a little bit of leeway. It's freaking awesome is what it is. I'm looking forward to the Divine Armor version of this guy coming out. He's going to have the trailer mode, the armor mode, and a robot mode, which is, it's kind of interesting because his trailer mode is going to look basically like this. His armor mode is going to look basically like his armor mode lid, but then he's going to have a robot mode on top of that. So that's cool, actually. I mean, I don't know why they decided to design the same figure twice, but it's cool, I suppose. Hopefully, for those of you who have a Thunder Erebus, which is basically just this, and it's the exact same figure, but just in different colors, hopefully they come out with a black version of it for Thunder Erebus. Maybe they re-release Thunder Erebus when they come out with the black version, and I can actually get one. Yes, fingers crossed. But anyhow, the set's awesome. If the classics, the chug scale is your thing, this is the perfect chug scale Power Master Optimus Prime. Like, I have the Hasbro Power of the Primes. No, not Power of the Primes. Hasbro Titans Return Power Master Optimus Prime, and it's good for a leader class figure, but like it's not great. And then I've handled the Japanese version with the God Bomber, and it's like cool that they did it, but the execution is just it's not that great. This one is solid in all of his modes. This one is decently poseable in all of his modes. This one is quite stable in all of his modes. Like, this is a really good all-around figure. And so it comes from me highly recommended. But anyhow, thanks everyone for watching this video. It's probably going to be like an hour long or whatnot, but I love you guys. You're all awesome. Thanks for watching. I'll see you around. Be good to each other. Bye.